Hello, my name is Eric Putkinen. Thank you for joining me. Today I'm talking about I'd rather be here now. I thought I'd talk about a fundamental attitude of life that so many spiritual teachers have, and it is that we'd rather be here now. Now, the present moment, the ever new here and now is where the attention resides, where we are focused, you could say. And I guess in comparison, if you can think about your own, I guess, the way you react or interact or work within the world, where are you focused? Where is the attention? Is the attention here and now? Or is it focused on some future point? I'm trying to get somewhere. I'm trying to get that. Are you constantly focused elsewhere in the future? Or are you the type that reminisces a lot? You're focused on the past, and you're constantly thinking about what's been done to you, or great successes, or the accomplishments and spiritual experiences, or whatever it might be. But do you constantly refer to the past? And these are the two directions, so to speak, that most people focus on. I mean, usually there's a mix, but I would say most people predominantly focus on either past or future. And it would be, I think, worthwhile to inquire or question in yourself or observe your own thoughts and day-to-day activities to try to determine which one you spend the most time on. Do you spend most of your time, well, and that's among three possibilities. Do you spend most of your time on the past? Do you spend most of your time on the present? Or do you spend most of your time on the future? And as you're observing, you might find that, I spend very little time on the present. Most of my focus is on past and future, and predominantly it's one or the other. And in becoming aware of this tendency, you need to put the question to yourself. What is most important to you? Where do you really want to focus? Because it is only in trying to achieve some future, to get something in the future, that we focus so much on it. Or, being very attached to things in the past, we focus very much on the past. But how much time is spent on the present, on the ever new moment, from moment to moment? And I would say, I think most of the great spiritual teachers I can think of spend the majority of their time here, just here, be here now. And that's where the attention and the abidance is. It's just here. Now is the most important time. Now is the most significant. And so now is focused on, as opposed to something else. Where does your own significance and importance lie? What do you think is most important? And if you think what is most important is something of the past or future, that's where all the attention's going to lie. And so it's a bit of a, inspecting your own attitudes, your own basic way of living. Observing your attention to see where it goes, because where you spend the most of your attention is what you're focused on, and that's what you are deeming most important. We don't we don't tend to spend a lot of time on things that are not deemed very important. And so I know some people have a horrible time trying to be present, for example, but in speaking with them, sometimes you get the feeling that they don't think the present is very important. They don't see the importance of it. It's considered boring or whatever, but it's not considered significant. And so all the attention automatically gets drawn elsewhere because that's what's important for them. And so we need to delve into what do we consider most important and why? Because we've got to question, is that importance that we're assigning to it really valid? Because, you know, if you're constantly striving for some future thing that may or may not ever come about, then, you know, what's really going on? Or if all of your focus is on some past event, an accomplishment, an experience, whatever, but the past is gone, never to return. So why is all the focus there? You have to kind of analyze, observe, investigate your own fundamental paradigm of why past, present, future have they have different weights, but where is the most weight and why? What is it you think you'll get by putting so much focus on that, be it future, past, whatever? But I think it's important to point out that all the great spiritual teachers I can think of, they're all focused on here and now. Now is most important to them. They're not so concerned about past and future. And so if you wanted to emulate or imitate them, it would behoove you to try to figure out how to make the present most significant to yourself. Make the ever new moment the most important thing to be attentive to. So it's something I think worth looking into. But I just kind of like the phrase, I'd rather be here now. And that was actually, it was Eckhart Tolle was saying that he saw Ram Dass's license plate once. And it was a normal number, but on the license plate, you know how they have sometimes those decorative plaques around it or whatever. And it just said, I'd rather be here now. And the phrase just kind of stuck with me because I just kind of like that. But, you know, Ram Dass, Eckhart Tolle, Gangaji, Adyashanti, Byron Katie, Ramana Maharshi, Nisargadatta Maharaj, I would even probably say, you know, Ramakrishna and anybody else I can think of. Pretty much every name I can think of within the whole non-duality and enlightenment sphere, all the writers and teachers in that area are focused on the moment. You know, they would all say, I would rather be here now. This is where we want to be. This is most significant. This is most important. And you got to figure out, or at least you need to come to a deep understanding, viscerally, of why now is most important and why past and future is not so important. Because if you can get that, if you can get that visceral understanding of why the moment is where we would all rather be, you would suddenly find that it's much easier to be here now. Because your internal understanding and attitude would be, well, no, now is most significant. And so even when the mind comes up with thoughts of past and future or imaginations, you would find yourself ignoring it. Oh, it doesn't really pertain to now. I'm more concerned with now. And then as there's this automatic turning away from thought and ignoring thought and always focused on now, the mind will catch on to this, and you'll find that the mind will slow and stop, and you'll just quit having all these extraneous thoughts about past, future, imaginations. It would all just kind of calm down on its own, because you're 100% devoted. You're committed to the moment. And the brain, which I've often said is a friend, it's trying to help, will soon come in line with that, because it will soon overcome the past conditioning of having all this thought, and reactive thought will cease arising when it's not really that significant anymore. So it's something to play with. It's something to investigate. It is worth delving into why so many of us would rather be here now. And analyze your own inner beliefs, concepts, conditioning, hang-ups of being stuck on future, past, or daydreaming and imaginations. And if you can see through that conditioning, it'll become much easier to just be present. Anyways, that's all for today. If you got any questions, comments, please post below. And as always, thank you much.